So I'm here tonight with the members of Sacramento for Bernie Sanders to talk about the local effort to get Bernie Sanders through the primary and as a candidate for president. Good evening. This is Darrow and Eric.
Hello.
So you want to get us started?
Well, my name is Darrow Sprague, and about 5 months ago, I started a Sacramento for Bernie Sanders Facebook page on social media, and invited a few other friends that were also Bernie Sanders supporters to join the effort and helping to spread the word. And at this time, we've grown to having about 1,780 followers on Facebook. And so now we are trying to do the important part of trying to translate that social media popularity into what it's going to actually take to get Bernie Sanders elected, which is the grassroots work of like going out and talking to actual voters and about Bernie Sanders and identifying supporters in early voting states.
So you guys recently had your big watch party.
And we had a debate watch party, the first debate watch party. We had about 500 people, standing room only at a downtown drinking establishment. And so that was a good turnout. And so now we're working to try to get all of those online supporters and all of those people that show up at our big meetings and the people that show up at these big debate watch parties to do the actual work of precinct walking and phone banking.
And how's that going?
Well, it's a little discouraging. It's really encouraging when you look at the big numbers of like the number of groups that are out there that are supporting Bernie Sanders and the number of people that online show their support for Bernie Sanders and the amount of people that will come out to a meeting. We've had 2 meetings where we've had about 100 people at the meeting, and you hope that that's going to translate. But so far we've been doing phone banks for the last 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
And we average between 4 and 7 people showing up each week to help at the phone bank. And it's good. It's early in the voting season. Nobody's voting yet. So it is encouraging. We've got something established there, but you would hope that more of the people that are liking the Facebook page or coming out to the debate watch party would actually show up and do some of the work that it's going to take to actually get them elected.
So if somebody comes down to make phone calls down there on S Street, S and what?
10th and S, or 11th and S, 1033 S Street, Suite 200 right there. Yes.
If they come down there for an hour, they have to bring their own phone and a laptop computer.
They don't necessarily, we do have some desktop computers and we do have some loaner laptop computers. So we have never actually exceeded our loaner capacity. So as far as their own phone, we could probably log somebody in with Google Voice. So basically, if you come down, we will train you and we will accommodate you and make sure that you can talk to some voters in Iowa, which is what we're doing right now.
So if somebody comes down for an hour and they kind of, once they're trained, about how many people can they call in an hour in Iowa? Or how many people can they really talk to? Not ones that
You know, the answer rate's probably about 10%. So if you make 100 phone calls, you might actually reach 10 people. And we are working with folks who are on the ground in Iowa, and we're identifying voters, basically, whether they support Bernie, whether they're leaning Bernie, and then they will get additional touches by people in Iowa. So the work we're doing is super important to the campaign. And what was your question was, how many folks would you talk to in an hour? You might talk to, 5 or 6 people in an hour. You're going to get a lot of answering machines and a lot of just, it's funny, in Iowa, a lot of people don't even have answering machines, so their phones just ring and ring and ring and ring. It's not like Sacramento, where we're accustomed to. Everybody has a message machine. Everybody has a cell phone. Iowa folks, you'll get a lot of folks who are like, you'll call and you'll get maybe the wife on the line, and she'll say, well, he's, Bob's out harvesting right now because it's harvest time in Iowa. It's farm country. We're calling it farm country and talking to farm folks in Iowa.
So if you have like 4 or 5 people showing up and calling 4 or 5 people, then you're only doing like 20, 25 people a week. And it's just that I know you guys need so much more. You're going to have to touch a lot more people in Iowa, and you're going to have to, this is a slog. I've been down there making calls, and it is work. But I mean, if people really want to see Bernie Sanders be a candidate, then California, I feel like, is going to have to get to work. California has 1 in 8 of the citizens, so there's a lot of people power here, and there's a lot of people, that are left coast, right? There's a lot of energy here. But Californians are disenfranchised by our current primary system. We're put way back at the end. We don't have our primary to June. How convenient is that this large population of lefties, right, isn't even interested in primaries right at a time when we need the energy for Bernie Sanders? So if you're liking Bernie Sanders on Facebook, you can like him from now until the cows come home, but he's not going to be your candidate like that. You're going to have to call into Iowa. California is going to have to step up to the plate now, because when June rolls around, he's not going to be a candidate. Like, I feel like I'm hearing that California is dropping the ball. I don't know if it's going on in other parts. I was at a rally in San Francisco, and it did not go well. There was some problems with that rally. It was planned and then canceled and replanned, and it had 37,000 replies. And
on Facebook.
But there was only like 400 people. That's way, way smaller than it should have been. So California is kind of sleeping on the job when it comes to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And, and I'd hate to see this just pass us by. So the phone banking is one way, but there are other ways. Let's tell the people about that.
So that's what I think is really disheartening about the internet popularity. I mean, it's easy to sit in a cafe or in the comfort of your own home and like a bunch of things on Facebook, or join like 10 different like Bernie supporter groups. There's been an explosion of, like, since I started this Facebook page, Sacramento for Bernie. Then I started to see an explosion of different Facebook pages. There's Pagans for Bernie, there's a Women's for Bernie, there's a Northern California for Bernie, there's Sacramento and Solano for Bernie group, and then there's a Sac for Bernie group, and then there's a Elk Grove for Bernie group.
So then you have all these groups and you have all these memes, but it's not going to get Bernie elected. Calling Iowa is one way, but I wanted to hear you talk about canvassing, there's canvassing, let's talk about that. Canvassing in Nevada.
So let's simplify it. I mean, we're up against organized money, and the only way that we could beat organized money is by having organized people, and we need to get those people that are liking Bernie on social media, and people that have these like good, warm, fuzzy feelings about Bernie, to actually get involved in the outreach that it takes to get a candidate elected to office. And that means like going out and forming relationships with the voters that are likely going to be voting in the next election.
And so a good way to do
two
that
opportunities
is
that we have right now are we are reaching out. We know that California comes really late in the voting process. And so if Bernie Sanders does not have a real strong showing in the early primary states that start voting in February, it's all over. And so what we've done is we've set up a phone bank, and we've got a weekly phone bank going into Iowa, where we're calling Iowa voters. Iowa voters are the first voters to vote in the country, and they vote at the beginning of February. And we're also like sending carpools of people to Reno every other once a month right now, and we're going to step it up soon to every other week.
So wait a minute, tell me about these.
And in Reno, we're going door to door, and we're talking to voters, and we're trying to identify Bernie supporters and get people to go to the caucuses on February 20th in Reno.
So you have groups of people coming from Sacramento, going to Reno for the day to knock doors.
Yeah,
to get those people out for that early primary.
and some people that go for 2 days.
Nice.
We've got a really good volunteer group in Reno, Washoe County, supporters of Bernie Sanders, and a lot of them are willing to host people that are willing to come up to Reno for a weekend and do some canvassing. They could spend the night at one of the volunteers' houses and then go out the next day and
Meet
do some
some
more
more Bernie
canvassing.
people, right?
And it's these carpools to Reno, like to do the door-to-door walking, and it's the phone calls into like states like Iowa that we're calling right now that really makes a difference. I mean, going back to the numbers that like a person could call, like I think it's like 100 people can make about 10,000 phone calls in what period of time?
Probably 4 hours or so. We're averaging about 300 phone calls, with our 6 to 10 people.
So my goal is to have in Sacramento 100 volunteers that are
On the
committed
phone.
to be on the phone once a week for 4 hours
If you want Bernie elected,
to make 10,000 phone calls.
what's it going to
Yes.
take? It's going to take some work.
Yes.
So we've talked about the phone banking into
Mm-hmm.
Iowa. We've talked about carpools into Reno to there. What about the information tabling? What about how about that? How's that effort going?
Information tabling is key
Where are
to
you doing that
like
at?
building the momentum to get things going.
Have you got enough people doing that, or you need more people?
5 months ago when we started this effort, we knew that we needed that winning the campaign's about building capacity to be able to reach out to voters. And so we went out and we tried to recruit volunteers and got out information about Bernie Sanders and let people know who we were. So we established the Facebook page in the beginning, and then we established a website. But then we've been out at the farmers markets for the last 5 months. There's been about a core of 4 to 7 people that have like really kept these farmers market outreaches going week after week. So we've been at the Oak Park Farmers Market, we've been at the Midtown Farmers Market, we've been at the Southside Park Farmers Market, and now we've got people tabling at Sierra College, we've got people tabling at American River College, got people tabling at Sacramento City College, and we have some people that are interested in tabling at Sac State, and I believe that they will be soon.
And so you're looking for volunteers to come and man the table and be there and to talk to people. That's another way that people can, put your body where your mouth is.
Right. It's in the campaign.
Because you guys can't really take money. The only thing you can take is actual volunteers.
And that's the only way we can beat. If you're talking Hillary versus Bernie, we're not going to beat Hillary in fundraising.
But I think the point I'm making is that you guys can't take money at all right now. You're not part of the commit. You can't take any money.
No.
So people can't give you money. All they can give you is time, right?
They can give us time and give money to the campaign.
Ink cartridges.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Well, we had a Bernie.
But you need people showing up.
Yeah,
it's not the
absolutely.
money. The money is not.
No,
this is
we
not
need
the money
boots.
here. We
need boots
Bernie's
on the
campaign
ground.
needs the money, but here in Sacramento we need people.
If Bernie's going to win, it's boots on the ground that's going to win.
We have had people offer us money, and it's really difficult, but you have to decline the money. But we did have a fundraiser for Bernie back in September, Bernie Sanders' birthday party on his birthday, and we were able to raise some money for Bernie by we just set up a couple of laptops up front.
But you get none of that money.
People can go and log in to Bernie Sanders' website and give money directly to Bernie Sanders, like I did.
But you don't get any of that money.
No.
So there's no way we can help you. The only way to help Sacramento for Bernie Sanders is to show up at 10 S Street? What's that address?
1033 S Street,
That's right.
Suite 200.
Every Saturday?
Every Saturday. We're holding it open every Saturday from 1 to 5. And if we have like large turnouts, we will expand that.
We'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. We will accommodate people. If people show up, we will make sure that they have a place to phone bank, and we're going to beat, we're going to win on the ground. We're going to win by making more phone calls. We're going to win by knocking on more doors. We're not going to win by raising billions of dollars. That's not how grassroots movements like ours win races.
So I want to make sure we talk about what you've got coming up in the future, because you've got some pretty big news.
Oh,
One of the things that we're doing is we've been asked by the national campaign to help put together a Bernie Sanders, Northern California Bernie Sanders supporter rally that's going to take place next Sunday at UC Davis. And we're trying to gather all of the Bernie Sanders supporters in the area.
All the different Facebook groups.
All the different Facebook groups.
Get them off of Facebook into Davis.
To get to Davis, where the national campaign staff could tell them what they could do to really help.
So it's a chance for people to be able to talk to those national campaign staff. Oh. Are there going to be speakers?
yeah, I mean, hopefully there will be folks from each of the groups, because this is a collaboration, like a regional collaboration. So UC Davis students for Bernie will be there. Davis for Bernie will be there. Sacramento for Bernie. A lot of the San Joaquin folks, and then the national folks the national staff will be there to speak to us, and hopefully we'll get some folks that'll stand up and talk about what they're doing regionally, and we can kind of talk about what we're doing to move Bernie forward regionally. Yeah, absolutely. There will be speakers, but I'm anticipating there will be some back and forth, where we can...
Some like discussions?
Some discussion where we can kind of share best practices, as it were, what people are doing.
Are they coming to kind of assess the on-the-ground capacity here? Is that kind of what's going on there?
They're coming because they've already assessed the on-the-ground capacity. They're coming to Sacramento. Originally, they weren't even going to come to Sacramento. They were going to go to LA, and then they were going to come to San Francisco. But a lot of staff members who we've been working with have said, hey, Sacramento's doing good things. They're knocking
Raising
on
the
doors.
wage.
Well,
I mean, there's other things that are going on here. There's a lot of energy.
But as far as Bernie's concerned, we've been phone banking for 6 weeks. So we're ahead of some other groups, even though we haven't had maybe as great a turnout as we could have. But
you got some very dedicated people.
But we have some dedicated people. So the staff said, no, we can't skip Sacramento. We need to turn out. There's some great folks there. So they're coming to Davis. Not, I wouldn't say to assess, but more to maybe build on and fire up what we already have going. Is more what I would say they're coming for. And it should be a great event. It'll be like our first real contact with national staff. So it'll be an opportunity to find out what they're doing, because a lot of times...
And what they see for us to do.
Right. It's hard, like you said, like you were saying earlier, with California being such a late state, and there's so much activity going on in New Hampshire and Iowa, and we don't have all of that. Nevada has a bit of that. So it would be great to have some people who've been on the ground in these early states where there's all this fired up enthusiasm to bring some of that and spread it with us, hopefully, right? So hopefully that's what that'll be. I think this weekend will be like a full Bernie weekend. We have a debate, so there'll be debate watch parties. We'll have our regular phone bank on Saturday.
So there's a debate coming up?
There's a debate this Saturday?
So yeah, basically we put out an email today to our 348 or 350 email addresses that we communicate with on a regular basis. We told them about the Raise the Wage events that are happening tomorrow, because what Bernie's trying to do is we're trying to build community, and we're trying to relationship build, and there are other things that are related to the message of what Bernie's talking about that we are also trying to promote, right? So we've got the Raise the Wage actions and rallies tomorrow. And then on Saturday, we've got phone banking at the Democratic Party of Sacramento office at 1033 S Street, Suite 200, from 1 to 5.
Told you 3 times.
And then at 6 o'clock that evening, there will be the second Democratic Presidential Debate Watch Party. And this month, our group hasn't decided to host an event like we did last month and had a turnout of 500, but we've are encouraging other individuals to on their own host their own debate watch parties for Saturday, and to share the information with our Facebook page so we can promote it. But there is one group that's did a debate watch party last month at New Helvetia, and so this Saturday I'll be at New Helvetia at 6 o'clock watching the Democratic Debate Watch, and then on Sunday at UC Davis from 11 to 1 we have the rally meeting with the national campaign staff, and so it's going to be a busy week.
Wow. So how much time do we have left here? Got a couple minutes? So one of the things you were talking about there was the minimum wage thing. So I did want to save some time at the end to talk about that, because that is happening tomorrow. There's going to be, starting at 12 o'clock, I know you guys are both involved in that.
We're actually starting at 6 a.m.
That's true.
There's going to be an action at a McDonald's tomorrow at 6 a.m. where one of the workers was unfairly terminated and then brought back to work after a unfair labor practice grievance was filed, and so we're gonna have an action at that McDonald's at 6 in the morning. There are a lot of fast food workers in the region who are walking off their jobs on strike tomorrow, so there will be striking workers. And then the action that you spoke of at 12, we're going to be meeting up at City Hall, and then we're going to be marching from City Hall to the Capitol, and then from the Capitol I think we're marching down to the county building and the ICE building, the immigration building down there, and we're going to hold little actions in front of each of these buildings. And then a lot of folks are going to be getting on buses and going down to Oakland for a massive action in Oakland, which is part of like the worldwide Fight for 15, which is, I think it's over 200 cities are going to be involved in this. And this obviously is it's part of the movement that Bernie was talking about this before the movement started, right?
Right.
I mean, if we look
back
3 decades, 30 years, Bernie was talking about income inequality being an issue in America. Well, now I think it's reached a fever pitch where people are taken to the streets. It's a tipping point right now. So it's working out for the Bernie campaign, I think, and just generally, you're seeing cities all over California raising the wage. There are going to be a couple initiatives on the ballot for statewide raising the wage.
And we're also looking at money in politics too. Bernie really speaks to that.
We are talking
free
about
education.
There
So
are
many things. So many things, and they're all. How about healthcare? And my favorite thing, particularly about your group, is that you guys talk about building a movement. That this isn't about getting a guy elected. You guys are on this. And this is why you're involved in the minimum wage things, right, as well as other things, is because it is a movement. And that's something I've really respected about you guys. So back to the thing going on tomorrow. Want to let the viewers know that City Hall is at 915 I Street. That starts at noon, and then the action moves to the Capitol. There will be buses going to Oakland, and it's going to be at Oscar Grant Plaza. If you want to join any of those actions, I think, starting off at noon at City Hall, you'll probably be able to get on the bus and everything. So it's been really great having you guys. Is there anything else? We've got, just another couple minutes if you want to close out anything that I might have forgotten.
No, I mean, absolutely. If you care about the movement, really, it's about putting your work where your talk is. What do you say?
We want to
walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk. So, I encourage everybody. If you have never done this before, don't be frightened. It's after you make a few phone calls to people you don't know, it will become comfortable to you. So. Don't be frightened by it, is all I'm saying. Yes.
And I think we're all really excited about Bernie, and we want to vote for him. And I mean, I think it's important for people to know that those opportunities will only be there later if we do things now to make that future happen.
Absolutely.
It's not just going to come like a unicorn, sweetie. It's going
You're exactly on point, Laura. Yes. Get out there and do the work.
Engaging in direct voter contact, it's easy, fun, popular, and it's very important. Like, if we don't do that, we don't have a chance.
And it's about building the movement.
And
Beyond Bernie, it's about connecting the people who care about the same things and reaffirming with each other what's important and what we're all working together for. It has been great to have you guys. I'm going to have to close out and thank my viewers for joining me. This has been Laura Rubalcaba with Sacramento Soapbox. I'd like to thank our crew tonight. They've been absolutely wonderful. I appreciate all the work they do. Thank you.
Thank you.
So.